Hello, I hope you're all doing well. I am so excited to be back and sharing so many yummy, delicious meals with you all while chatting all things postpartum. Today, we're going to make a congee. So this congee is like my super simple hack, easy, simple way to make congee. Of course, please do not judge me in terms of traditional congee, but this seems to do the trick when I am making a very broken rice that's like broken down for my mama clients to easy digest, and it just makes a very simple, quick meal that I can make on the fly when I go in to see clients for the first time after birth. So many benefits here, and if you are making it for yourself, I would highly suggest once it cools to put it in like a little bit of an ice cube tray, or they actually make silicone soup trays now. Fill that and then pop it in your freezer, and then when you're ready to defrost with some chicken broth or veggie broth. So very, very easy. I'm so excited to share this quick trick with you. And also, side note, another additional recipe, if you check out my cookbook includes the recipe to the roasted chicken that I'm not going to go in depth about today, but you are going to see the roasted chicken because I do end up chopping that up and putting it in the congee towards the end. That's my goal to do. So if you're looking for that recipe, you can check my recipe book out, and it is included in there. But this congee recipe is free, and you're welcome to check it out on my blog. Description's going to be down below like usual. And if you're new, hello, I'm a postpartum doula here in San Diego, and this is my recipe cooking show, if you will. It's just a time to cook and chat about all things postpartum. And if you have been here before, welcome back. I hope you get cozy. You know the drill. It's so exciting to just sit back, chat all things postpartum, and let's get cooking. All right, let's go. We have some fresh ginger here. You're going to only need 4 slices and a half cup of rice. I use brown rice. So again, this is my variation. This is how I make it. Brown rice. And then you're going to need about 4 cups of water. I have that here along with, I have ghee. So we're going to use some ghee butter in this recipe. Also some garlic and ghee. So you will want probably some fresh garlic or powdered garlic. I'm doing powder because remember, this is a very quick recipe, so the garlic won't be able to be cooked completely. I'd rather use garlic powder. So we're gonna show you how to do that with a little bit of ghee and keep it very simple and delicious. So I'm going to take the half cup of rice and add it into our blender, and we're just gonna blend it with half of the water this recipe calls for. So we're gonna do a nice blend there of about 2/4 cup of water. So about 2/4 cup. So let's just get that done real quick. And the reason we're doing this is it breaks down the grain a little bit and makes it easier to cook. And it becomes more like a porridge. It's like a very delicious porridge. There's so many ways to eat congee. I really am interested if you want to put in the comments below what your favorite way of eating congee. I would be so excited to know, because I just like it plain with a little bit of bone broth and butter, but everyone's so different in how they like it. So I'm gonna do 2.5 cups of water, or 2 1/4 cup of water. Well, we don't have that much space in our blender, so we'll add a little water in a little bit. Let's blend it and see where we're at. But I will have all the information in the description in terms of the recipe if you get a little bit confused with the water. Okay, so now we have our blended up rice, and we're going to add it to a pot. So I have my pot that has tried and true pot here. So we're gonna use this one here. And basically just add the rice mixture. So you kind of clumpy, and that's why I like to save a little bit of the extra water, which works out, and just kind of swirl it in there. You could do bone broth or veggie broth. I'm keeping this simple for sake of the recipe. Like, you can keep it really, really simple, or you can make it really complex. So you decide. And then I'm gonna add the ginger, the 4 pieces of ginger in there, the rest of the water, like that. And then I'm gonna add the garlic. Add the garlic powder in there. To add some salt and pepper. And again, it's up to you what you want to put in there. I have done turmeric before. I've done ginger powder. Kind of just play with whatever you have available. But this is what's working for me and what I like about it. So let me get this on the stovetop and we'll chat a little bit more. While the rice is cooking, we just want to keep an eye on it and make sure that we're constantly just stirring it up, just so the bottom doesn't burn. That's the only thing. Like, when you break up that rice, sometimes it gets a little sticky where it can literally stick. But anyways, I want to chat with you all a little bit in terms of about belly binding. So there's so many different ways to belly bind. There's so many cultures that have their similar way of belly. Take, for instance, the way to do it in Mexico is the faja, and that is a whole different way of doing it, but at the same time it is the same benefits and really gets to the point of supporting the belly, supporting the structure of the body, and focusing on the hips. There is many other ways. You can also just get one from your hospital if you give birth in a hospital, and usually it's going to be a Velcro belly binder. So you can definitely do your research into what really pulls you, and maybe culturally there's something that your grandma used, your mom used, and so really connect with those ones and see what makes sense for your body, what makes sense for what happened, like with their postpartum. Did they see a benefit? So listen to the wise ones in your circle and hear what's best for what was best for them, and see if it works for you too. Let's check on this really quick. So I usually, after it gets to boil, I drop the rice down to a good low medium heat. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it while we're chatting, but it smells so good in here already. But what I like to do is really just talk to my mama clients and see how they feel about the type of belly binding, what feels comfortable, and just show them the different ways to belly bind. And my favorite way to belly bind is the Bengkung belly binding which is the Bengkung belly binding method is from Malaysia originally, and has some just beautiful, it's just so beautifully, like, you can wear it and feel so good. And also it is a form of compression. So the compression really works well for mamas. I'm not gonna get too much into the benefits. You can check out my video here on YouTube. And it talks more about how to belly bind and the benefits there, but really comes down to structural support, and really just feels so good for the hips after birth, because you still have prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone that is present during your pregnancy, especially close to your birth, so that it helps your muscles relax, but it's still in your system for that first 6 weeks to 9 months after birth. So it can make you feel a little loose, it can make you feel a lot loose, it can make you feel prone to injury. And so the belly binding creates a compression, which helps our bodies feel really supported. I really love belly binding. If for any reason you belly bind, I love that it lifts the belly and lightly, gently pulls in, and that lift can help a lot of mamas not feel like there's weight on their pelvic floor, which creates peeing, just creates uncomfortableness. If you're healing from a tear, sometimes can feel like extra pressure on that healing space. So love it for that. And then the emotional part of it, that piece of it all that's so important, is that mamas feel cocooned and cared for, and it can be a part of like a ritual. A family member or a friend can know how to do it, and they can come in and do it every morning, or moms can just learn how to use it in general, so that they feel really empowered to have maybe a 5 minutes to themselves to do something that feels really like self-care, that's helping them along their journey. So there's many benefits. You can check out my video about belly binding, but in general, I think that the Bengkung belly binding is it's just superior in so many ways in terms of the compression. But I think all belly binding in general is going to give you the structural support. It's just where is the hip support. That's something that I think that I always want to encourage individuals to look into, is if their bind isn't sitting low on the hips and binding evenly up, then what is it doing? If it's creating just the midsection support, it's going to be putting pressure down on your pelvic floor and putting pressure upward, which can create gas and irritation, but also can create pelvic floor issues. And I always get this question and I always answer it to make sure everyone feels comfortable that belly binding is not it's not a fix for pelvic floor issues. It's just kind of something to do for that first 6 weeks before you see a pelvic floor therapist. So it's going to be a great compression, structural support, and just feels really good, but it's not going to take place as seeing a pelvic floor therapist if you're dealing with so many different issues, including recti diastasis, which is the separation of the abs. It can be for actual pelvic floor issues if you've had tears or just issues. So anyways, that being said, belly binding to me is just so beautiful. It's such a beautiful labor of love. Our partners can do it for us, which is so wonderful. And I love teaching fathers or, partners how to do it. Remember these muffins from last week? That's when I made them. So they're cooling right now. Well, I'm just giving this a good stir. And you can check out that recipe also here on my Instagram, and it is beautifully shared on YouTube as well. So let's keep going and just making sure this gets a good mix. It's starting to come out and look like almost like grits. You can cook this for about 10 minutes. You can cook it for about 10 minutes. I like to do a really low, if I can put it on a low simmer as possible, because some of these simmers are a little bit higher. I usually like to use my back burner because it's like the best simmer. But that can go for at least an hour or so, and I just keep adding bone broth to it. But we're gonna just do this for the sake of the video, just to show you how to make a very basic one. So 10 minutes or so, that's all you need. The black pepper smells so good. I don't know why that came out of everything, but it's really fresh black pepper, so it smells really yummy. So I roasted a chicken, that herbal yummy chicken, the other day, and I'm so excited to chop that up. So let's go do that real quick and get ready for when the congee is ready, so we can just start topping everything and making it super yummy. If you are not into eating meat, feel free to you don't have to do this, putting chicken in it, but I have this roasted yummy chicken that I made a couple nights ago, and I'm ready to chop it up. I like to keep things very simple, like usual, and get everything out to layer and keep things very minimal. So what you can do is just add your congee like this. A nice bit of congee. I cannot wait for this dinner. It's gonna be so good. And you can definitely add in veggies as you desire, but again, this is good for a first 48-hour meal after birth, where your body needs something very easy digestible. And then I have the shredded chicken that I shredded earlier, and I'll just put some shredded chicken on top. It has some herbs in it. You'll see the rosemary and the thyme and all that. And I love it. I really, if this is postpartum for me, I would do definitely ghee, because I'm feeling more a little bit of olive oil. So I'm gonna do that. And honestly, my local honey balsamic vinegar sounds really good. So we're gonna do a little bit of my olive oil and then my balsamic honey, which love this stuff so much. Just a splash. And then for me, that's the perfect postpartum meal. You just would want to adjust the oil, what's best for you. But there we go. She's perfect. All right, let's give it a taste and see how it is. I just need my spoon. I think I'm gonna probably add some shredded carrot to this and some spinach later, but in the meantime, just wanna take a bite and see how good it is. Wow. That is like a full comfort meal. It's like, for me, just like an herb roasted chicken is so nostalgic. And then you put that on top of the yummy creamy rice. It almost kind of gives me like a creamy grits polenta vibe, but doesn't have that corn flavor, obviously. But this is just the ultimate comfort food. I love this for postpartum. You could even add the shredded chicken in there in the bone broth already, then freeze it in those pods so it's all ready to go for your postpartum journey if you're doing it pretty close, that meal prepping pretty close to your birth. But just absolutely divine, and this is such a great in-between meal to snack too. Gives you protein, gives you carbs, gives you all the things you're going to need for healing. So anyways, I'm so happy that we could chat. I hope that you tried belly binding, and if you're curious about like who can belly bind, always definitely get that check in with your midwife or your doctor to make sure that you are approved, or I don't even know what would be the word, but encouraged to belly bind. But typically belly binding is good for everyone. It is just a great structural support, doesn't manipulate the body. It's not like shapewear or anything like that. But that being said, you have to know how to belly bind properly. So head over to my video to learn more about belly binding, and I hope that you can check it out. Enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me along this journey. I hope it was beneficial for you. I hope that you learned more things about postpartum, and it just continues to help you grow as you prepare for your postpartum journey. I hope that this congee recipe is a part of your simple weekly rotation. Again, it's great for that first after birth meal. So definitely let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you like this recipe? What's your thoughts? Have you had congee before? And like usual, very simple ingredients, very simple meal. That's what I'm all about. So I hope you take care and subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, take care.